we are reviewing chapters 9 and 10. Yes, so I know that this has been quite a journey with the reviews that we've had on this book, how it is kind of opening our eyes to things that, how to think, really, how successful people think. And when we say successful people, this book has made us realize for you to determine, okay, I'm successful, you don't look at your environment right now. You have to think beyond what you see in the moment, right? And that is now training your mind to start thinking big and bold, to go bold with your initiative. And that's why, we talked about being creative, being innovative and all of that. So today we're looking at think right toward people. We are in people business. We are in business, in cultivating relationship with people. In all of that relationship, there is a way we ought to think toward people. And this book is, this chapter is going to be looking at that for us. How must we think toward people? And it's given us a hint here. It says, think right. Think right. And this gives us the what will I say? The default thinking. The default way of thinking about people is to think that, usually some people have the default thought of, there's no one that is good. Everybody has a bad intention for you, having that as your default thinking, that if anybody says hi, it has an ulterior motive for saying hi to you, especially when it's not common, right? Some people are like that if anybody looks at you, they have a bad intention in their heart, just being looking at you. But this book is telling us, instead of thinking that people has bad intention towards you, or they have evil things in their heart, evil intentions, you always have the mindset that, you think right toward people, and that whatever the intention they have, it doesn't matter what it is, good or bad, what you are ready to receive is the good version of whatever their thought is. So that is golden. So here, as we know, for us to be successful, the basic rule for winning success is that we know that we need the support of other people. And we've heard this more and more. You are in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And that is because we're in a community. As a professional in the network marketing, you're always within a community where you're able to leverage on other people's efforts as well. So we need to be able to leverage this in a healthy manner, in the right way. All right. So we all depend on other people to provide support, to provide things that will continue to help us even in our businesses. And of course, as you leverage on other people, you are there as well, available to leverage on others. For example, in our community, we have prospecting calls, and these calls, you might be called upon to come and make presentations. Like I had the opportunity yesterday, the privilege of making the presentation yesterday. This year, the leadership had mentioned the leaders in the community will be making the presentation. So that is, if Agnes, for example, is making the presentation, I can be there and enjoy and have my prospect enjoy that presentation. I'm leveraging on what she's able to do. When I did my presentation yesterday, other people are there. I'm sure, I saw Agnes vividly, Diana was there as well, to enjoy the presentation that I made, right? That is leveraging on one another, right? Now, how do we now enable or make that relationship to continue to grow? And then how do we enhance the relationship between us and our prospects so that we can make, as we bring them in, we can make that community a healthy one for them to thrive in. The very first thing here is talking about is we have to follow a plan for liking people. We have to like other people. We have to be likable, and we have to be disposed to like other people. It says successful people follow a plan for liking people. So what is your plan for liking people? When you are likable, it makes you lighter to lift. People can come around you and be comfortable with you. People can talk to you easily. When you are approaching them, you want to share, the business opportunity, you want to show them your product, they will receive you with open arms because you are likable. And when you think right toward them, you will approach them with that openness as well. And thereby they will receive you because of what because you are likable and because you see them as being likable as well. So what is your plan for liking people? I love this book. It's putting in the other skill that we need in, to be able to influence other people, to be able to, get people on board our ideas, get them to buy into what we are selling to them, right? So it starts with being likable, and then have a plan to liking people. I will not, it will be wrong, just for lack of a better word, it will be wrong of me to assume and to, project, that some people are not bad or have evil intentions or just not likable. Some people are just, not approachable. Some people are just mean and just mean-spirited and all of that. I would be lying if I say I don't believe that. However, I don't dwell. It's not for us to dwell on the people that are not likable, right? We focus and look for those. We have to attract our likes. What you are like, that is who you attract to yourself. So we have to go out, be intentional about seeking out those we like. So he says there are plans. This plan is according to President Lyndon Johnson, right? He had this plan put together way before he became a president, and more like a process of developing the amazing power of personal persuasion. How many of us believe that we need personal persuasion in our business to be able to sell, your ideas to other people, to be able to make sales? Exactly. Thank you, Dr. Irene. We have to have that skill of, personal persuasion. So he says he developed his own 10-point formula for success. His rules, which even a casual observer of the president can see are practiced in everything he does, are quoted directly below. So we're going to look at those 10 rules right now. Number 1, it says, learn to remember names. Inefficiency at this point may indicate that your interest is not sufficiently outgoing. When we are interacting with people on a phone call, in a text message, we have heard this times and times over again. When you are texting people, use their names. When you are doing broadcasts, that is not possible to use their name specifically. But when it's time to do one-on-one, when you're doing an email and you're using an email management system, there's a way they automatically put their names on it, right? But if you're doing one-on-one, you must use people's name. That's the best sound in anyone's hearing, so we must learn to remember people's names, okay? And then one of the things that I normally do is when I reach out to people, in prospecting them, I ask, well, especially when I see that it's not a common name, I ask for the meaning, right? What is the meaning of your name? How do you pronounce the name? Especially when the pronunciation, if I'm not sure of the pronunciation, I ask for the pronunciation, I ask for the meaning, and that has built rapport. It's given a very good ground, in building rapport. All right. It says, be comfortable, be a comfortable person so there is no strain in being with you. Be an old shoe kind of individual. You know how I remember where we were growing up as teenagers, even maybe preteen even. When it's December time, that's when we buy new shoes, new clothes. For Christmas, we get new shoes, new clothes. At least before that time, what we usually get is hand-me-downs, right? My sisters, you get older clothes from your siblings, but Christmas, you get your own clothes and then your own shoes. And those shoes usually, we call it, you meet it there. Instead of giving you your own size, they'll make it one size bigger so that it will last you for the next year, right? I don't know if anybody experienced that while growing up. I did, right? That shoe, that day when you wear that shoe on that Christmas day, you're coming back home with blister on your feet because the shoe is new. The shoe is slightly oversized. Most times we shock it with tissue in the front. We put tissue in the front so that it will fit that very first day. And before you know it, by 6 months, you already fit into the shoe. The shoe is really doing good and all of that, until we got wiser that when you buy something new, it's good to enjoy it while it's new. I tell you, we have all been there. I tell you, my sister. Oh my God. Yes. So that is how it's, so especially for the African families, I tell you, right? It's not only African families. So I see it here. I see it with the Oyimbos here too. The whites, they do that too. They have ways by which they do all of those things, right? So when you are a new shoe person, you hurt. You're uncomfortable. People are not comfortable around you. But what he's saying here is you have to be a kind of an old shoe kind of individual where your people are warm, they're warm towards you, you're warm towards them, you don't hurt them, you don't make them feel uncomfortable, you don't say jokes that will make them feel, cringy, but they're warm, you're warm towards them. Then 3, it says, acquire the quality of relaxed, easygoing so that things do not ruffle you. Okay, be relaxed around people, be easygoing in your approach, and you don't take things too seriously, okay? Don't take things personal. Don't be egotistical. Guard against the impression that you know it all. That is very, very important, and in this book, he emphasize, on and on. We're going to touch on it in chapter 10 as well, that you don't be hogging information or hogging conversation. Don't be the only person talking in a conversation. Don't be the only person talking, right? Listen, open, be receptive to ideas, be receptive to contributions. Let other people talk. Rather, monopolize questioning, but do not monopolize contribution. Do not monopolize discussion, right? Or the conversation, but allow the conversation to continue to fester by throwing in questions that will bring other people that will bring out ideas from other people. This we can use with our teams already, within our businesses. This we can use with prospects when we are asking them, about what their needs are. Because when you know what the needs of the customers are, you are able to provide a solution. You are able to let them know, okay, the product I have can actually solve the problem that you have this way or that way. All right. And when you're presenting new products that, you know, you're introducing new products to your markets, to your prospect, you know that from the perspective of the company, you know, introducing it to us, they've made their research as to what the market is looking for, right? On this, you know, depending on how new the product is, if it's a product that was researched in your environment, you are able to use those data, you know, to present the new product to other people. And if you have a new product that has not been researched within your community, it gives you an opportunity now to begin to put the feeler out. How do your prospect feel about, you know, the need for this new product? Would they want to embrace it? So that's how asking that question will make you, you know, get the information. So don't give the impression of that you know it all. Then 5, please let me know if you have any comments you want to throw in as we go. Thank you all for being here. I'll love participation. Like I just mentioned, I shouldn't be the conversation hogger. So please, I'll love for your contribution. And it says cultivate the quality of being interesting so people will get something of value from their association with you. You have to have something to give, right? People need to see what you have and wants to associate with that. It's very, very important. When your prospect, especially when on the business side, people wants to be able to see your life, how it's progressing, and then be able to say, okay, if I join with you, I know my life will likely be on that trajectory as well. So it's very, very, you know, that we cultivate the quality of being interesting. The quality of being, this is my very, very assignments for this year. This is my target this year. Cultivating the quality of being interesting, you know, especially on social media, right? Cultivate the quality of being interesting. That is my target, you know, for my business this year. So definitely we need to do that. Study to get the scratchy elements out of your personality, even those of which you may be unconscious, right? We have to pay attention. You know, there are times people will pass comments on your attitude, your personality. We need to pay attention and not take it personally. You know, when people say things, you know, try as much as possible to make amends, fine tune your behavior, fine tune your interaction, so it doesn't continue to rub people the wrong way. So whoever has told you've rubbed them the wrong way, apologize and make amends so it doesn't repeat itself again, especially when your customers, when you get feedbacks from your customers, either from their silence or from their feedback, them maybe lashing out at you or saying whatever they want to say, right? It's continuous improvement that we have to continue to have, right? So you continue to smoothing the edges, our edges, so that we continue to be acceptable and approachable for people. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Irene. We always get comments about our attitudes in it. Yes, in a joking manner, yes. Especially people that are close to us, they would throw it at you, from people sometimes. So it's important to pay attention in jokes. Exactly. They will tell you. People that love you will tell you, things that you are doing that they might not be happy with. They will throw it out like, okay, this is your habits. Now, if you hear it back, they might have taken it for you, like accept it for you. But when you hear it back, is this something you want to be known by? Is that your legacy that you want them to carry on? Right? Then you make amends. Right? It's good to go back and say what you said the other time. Is it really true? Right? And then, you pay attention. You pay attention to do something like that and try to, as much as possible, to make amends. Sincerely attempt to heal on an honest basis every misunderstanding you have had or now have. Drain off your grievances. Do not hold grievances. Okay? So attempt to heal every misunderstanding you have ever had, before or now. Drain off your grievances. Do not hold anybody. You know, those that have told you no, those that have, talked you off, or, said mean things to you, do not hold grievances against them, right? The person that told you no, or, sent you off on cosmetics, might be welcoming on fragrance. The person that said no on fragrance might be welcoming on fabric refreshener, might be welcoming on, kitchen cleaners and all of those things, right? Depending on the products you have, if they don't accept this, they might be open to the other, right? So we cannot shut the door on somebody. Once they say no, then we stop talking to them. Once they say no, then we stop engaging them on their social media. Once they say no, we stop. No, that is not the way we ought to. We have to let go of any grievance. Practice liking people until you learn to do so genuinely. Yeah, that is, I think that definitely goes with, number 5 for me, right? There are times I just don't want to interact in any way, but one have to, until it becomes real, until it becomes genuine, until it becomes you, we have to practice it. Never miss an opportunity to say a word of congratulations upon anyone's achievement or express sympathy in sorrow or disappointment. This goes a long way in groups that we belong to, in groups, on social media, or in communities that we belong to. Let's be lavish, in our words of congratulations, in our words of appreciations, and even in expressing sympathy. One thing that I've seen is people are quick to express sympathy faster than congratulations most times, right? But either way, whichever one is presented to us, let's be forced to congratulate. Let's be forced to express the sympathy. And, that way we are able to be likable, and we cultivate that likeness that way. Then give spiritual strength to people, and they will give genuine affection to you. So spirituality here, we're talking about, being available to enhance people's growth. Be there for people, to be a vessel, be an instrument through which people can genuinely grow in their journey in life. All right. So when you live by these 10 simple but tremendously powerful like people rules, living by this makes President Johnson easier to vote for, easier to support in Congress, and living these 10 rules makes President Johnson easier to lift, which is what it's going to do to you as well. Okay, now it says here, notice that there is no get even philosophy here. It's not like if he does it for me, that's when I will do it for him. If it's only the people that celebrate me that I will celebrate. It's only the people that says hi to me that I will say hi to. It's only the people that sympathizes with me that I will sympathize with. No, there is no let the other fellow come to me to patch up differences first. No, we have to be the one. There is no I know it all, other people are stupid kind of mindset. No, we are to be the big person, be the big people, and extend that hands of friendship. Be likable. Be likable. Be human, be warm, and be likable. But don't try to buy friendship. Friendship is not for sale. He gave an analogy here, where somebody that was trying to, cultivate, get your business, now begin to shower you a gift. And at the end of the day might come back and begin to say, oh, hope you like the gift that I gave you, with the intention to guilt you into patronizing them. If you don't want such a thing, your customers will not want such a thing either. All right. So whatever we're doing, it has to be void of, trying to rope people in, into whatever we're presenting to them. Because when we try to buy friendship, we waste money and we create contempt. Because when the people do not give the response that we're looking for, I am sharing my screen. Oh, sorry about that. Thank you, Agnes.
Because I'm cooking, I'm listening to you. I wasn't looking at it. It was something like I sat down and like, okay. Where is our book?
Okay. Thank you for that. Thank you. So maybe it had the other page all the while. Thank you for saying that. Thank you so much. So friendship can be bought. If you try to do that, you're going to waste your money and it will create contempt, because when people don't respond to the gift as you expected, you grow to dislike them. And that's not the result you're looking for. Take the initiative in building friendships. Instead, leaders always do. So whatever we need to do, however, we need to, following these 10 rules and all of that, we are able to develop the friendship that other people will like, So, and then it went on and, gave us 6 ways to win friends by exercising just a little initiative, just a little bit, right? It says, introduce yourself to others at every possible opportunity. Wherever you find yourself, at parties, meetings, on airplanes, at work, everywhere, introduce yourself. Be sure the other person gets your name right, name straight, okay? So if the name is difficult to pronounce, correct them if you have to. And one thing that I've seen that helps is telling them the meaning, because it's usually a conversation starter. If your name has a special meaning, you tell them the meaning of your name. That gives them, makes them realize the beauty of the name and the significance of it. And then they put in the effort to actually learn to pronounce your name correctly. Okay, so be sure you can pronounce the other person's name the way he pronounces it. Some people are fond of, when you tell them your name, they try to shorten it without you giving them permission to do that, or without them asking permission to do that. I stay away from that. Asking somebody, can I call you this? I don't like it, right? If somebody tells you their name, call them what they call themselves, okay? And if they say, oh, my friends call me this, maybe a nickname, or you can call me this for short. Yes. One thing that I know mompreneur normally does, she would say, my name is, this and that, and my community calls me mompreneur. And that's what I call her now, mompreneur, because I'm a member of a community. If she says my friends call me mompreneur, I'm a friend. So automatically I tend to go, call her by the name our friends call her, right? Because I want to be friends with her, right? So that's the way I run this rule, right? Thank you. True, not good to shorten people's name, especially when they've not given you the idea. Like, for example, my name, Omoumi. Before, I just tell people Wumi, right? And of course, that's easier. People go with that. Now, there was this a coach of mine. She, when I say my name, I think she asked for, maybe there's another name, and I gave her Elizabeth, which is my middle name, which I stopped using, right? I gave her Elizabeth, right? She started using Elizabeth. I'm like, no. Go back to learn how to pronounce if you want to be my coach, you have to learn how to pronounce my name. So that day I told her, hello, you got to pronounce my name. And this is the pronunciation. And since then, she says it rolls out of her mouth, easily, and, very, very, she's from the Highlands, Caribbean, and it rolls out of my mouth very beautifully. I'm like, yes. And then, yes, people now call me Omo. Now, when people are struggling with it, they're like, okay, is there a shorter name shorter form I can call you? I say, yes, go Omo. Right. And I go with that because my sister, that's the nickname she has for me. No, don't do that. That's why I don't tell people Elizabeth, right? It's much easier for people. So when people say, okay, is there a shorter name? I'll say, yeah, you can go with Omo. If I see that they're struggling with my name, Omo, that's fine, because I have a family member that calls me that, so I'm familiar with that. All right. Of course, even at my job, once I stopped the job, I'm like, okay, forget it. I'm going back to my first name. The other job that I had before this one, I used my name, my real name, and they did it well, right? But then I'm like, why did I make it? I'm going back to my first name, Jari, So, and it has both, of course, middle name and first name. They both have beautiful meanings to them. So it doesn't matter. But if I say my name is Omowumi, don't ask me for another name. Just call it however. Put some effort into it. So anybody that tells me their name, I try to put some effort into it and all of that. So he says, write down the other person's name and be mighty sure you have it spelled correctly. People have a fetish about the correct spelling of their own names. If possible, get his address and phone number also. One of the ones that I've seen, another one that I've seen is when people call me, because of the way they pronounce the name somewhere else, they miss the N in my name. Omowumi, is different. It's the same meaning, but it has a different tonation, right? So all of that, those little things, it just gets people, like you said, the people are fetish. It's true. It's totally true. Or Adewumi, just because they know one Adewumi, and now because it's rhymes, they now want to give you that name, So it's when you are talking to a prospect and you make that error, it lands on them in a way, right? But if you are able to remember their name after you've spoken to them, they introduce themselves. After you finish speaking to them, say, nice to meet you, Nusiat, right? Nice to meet you, Dr. Irene. You feel like, oh, I just told this person my name once, and they are able to remember it after we close. I think this person means, is professional. And they know their deal. But when you mix it up, and I do this, I find myself doing this, which I try to be careful not to continue to do. And that is when you are doing broadcast message, I don't, it feels, yes, it does. Now, when we are doing broadcast message, and I don't want it to be broadcast, but that message, I want their name in it. I'll have to message each person one by one. All right. So in that case, I'll copy the whole message, and then I'll paste it in another person's text. In some cases, because I'm in a hurry, I'll forget to change the name. And then I'll be calling Elizabeth Dare or Lola. That one. So I try as much as possible. Whatever I want to copy, it's not the name, it's the body. And thank God for WhatsApp, you can delete it on send quickly. But that is if you remember. If you have the presence of mind to remember that, oh, I forgot to change that name, and then you delete immediately, right? But if you just copy the body of the message you want to be sending to individuals like that, so that each time you paste it, you have to put hello, Dare, hello, Bimbo, specifically to that person, right? So it's definitely very, 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 very important. So pay attention to that. Drop a personal note or make a phone call a phone call to the new friends you feel you want to know better. This is an important point. Most successful people follow through on new friends with a letter or a phone call. Yes. So it's very, very good, especially during festivity periods, on messengers, on WhatsApp, reach out to them, greet them, say hello to them as a friend would. And last but not least, say pleasant things to strangers. It warms you up and gets you ready for the task. Look for something pleasant to say about somebody, right? That is very, 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 very essential. Look for something very special to say about somebody. It's very, 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 it goes a long way. It goes a long way. So putting these 6 rules to work is really thinking right about people, because you are people oriented. You focus on what pleases the other person, not just what you want. All right. So I'm going to skip that. That's a lesson from some guy that I was talking to. So basically, in summary on this chapter, before we go to chapter 10, if anybody has any contribution, please let me know. Thank you for your interaction today. Right. So with this, the person who does the most talking and the person who is the most successful are really the same person, talking about how we talk. And remember this, the average person would rather talk about himself than anything else in the world. So when we are in conversation, we ask questions. Instead of talking, we ask questions. We ask the questions. So it gets people talking. It gets people talking about themselves, and people are happy to talk about themselves. Don't be a conversation hog. Listen, win friends, and learn. Remember Benjamin Fearless. When things go wrong, just do 2 things. Ask yourself, what can I do to make myself more deserving of the next opportunity? When you are interacting with people, things might go wrong sometimes, but then don't dwell too much on it. Don't beat yourself too hard on it. Ask yourself, what can I do to make myself more deserving of the next opportunity? Don't waste time and energy being discouraged. Don't berate yourself. Plan to win next time, right? So we need to put all of these principles to work in order to think right about other people, right? Make other people, like the scripture says, prefer other people above yourself. Prefer other, yield, in the language of driving. Yield to other people when you are driving. In one of the rules I've told my kids, right? When you are choosing a friend, or like you're looking for somebody to spend the rest of your life with, you want to start dating, the very first test or first action you look out for, get that person to give you a ride. Get that person to give you a ride. And then watch the way they interact with other drivers on the road. I tell them, if they speak evil of other people, talk bad of other drivers on the road, that's a on that person. Take notice of it. The one that is a deal breaker for me, that I've told them, the one that is a deal breaker for me, somebody that cannot yield on the road. That's a deal breaker for me. Somebody, a friend, if I want to make a friend now, that's one of the tests I'm going to give me a ride. If that person cannot yield to another driver on the road, that person will not hear your opinions, will not yield to your opinions, will not listen to you. Because somebody that will be a road hogger, they are very much in themselves, like is their way or the highway. Okay, so that is one. I told them, those are the things you look out for. That person must be able to yield to others on the road. So those are the actions, you look out for. Now, the chapter 10, the last chapter we're going to be reviewing today, It says, get the action habit. Yeah, very true. A lot of people are selfish on the road, because if you're selfish when you are in your car, it's like you're in your home. You can do anything, you can say anything to anybody or about anybody, having the mind that nobody else is hearing you. That person is not going to hear you, right? Unless you make a gesture. If you're just saying it, they won't hear you, right? So people feel free to say things. So if I'm riding with somebody, I'll watch how do they handle, how do they treat the people that do not know they are doing things to them, right? So that would tell me how they would treat me when I'm not there, or how they would think about me when I'm not there, right? So that yielding, especially marriage partner, very, 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 very important. Very, very important. Now get the action habit. It's one thing to think big, but if that thinking big is not followed by big action, then one becomes a daydreamer, and there's nothing that comes out of daydreaming. Okay, so we have to get the action habit to complete the cycle. Every big job, whether it is operating a business, high-level selling, science, military, government, requires a man who thinks action. Principal executives looking for a key person demand answers to questions like, will he do the job? Will he follow through? Is he a self-starter? Can he get results? Or is he just a talker? You can continue to talk, but I want to see, action. Nothing comes merely by thinking about it. We have to be a doer. Mr. Activationist is a doer, but Mr. Passivationist is a don'ter, right? This is a person that postpones doing things until it has proved he shouldn't or can't do them, or until it's too late. However, activationist is a doer. He takes action, get things done, following through on ideas and plans. So whatever it is that we've decided to do, we have to follow through with it. And that is where I'm going to stop today. Basically, the rest of it is just case studies upon case studies about those that are just all talks, no actions, all of that, which we can enjoy in our private reading. But the summary of it is, we must be action takers. We must be action takers, right? Yeah, 2 special exercise, but developing initiative habit. Be a crusader. When you see something that you believe ought to be done, pick up the ball and run. Be the front runner. Be the one that initiates, action within your community, in your own family, in all areas, and be a volunteer, right? When the community needs to do things, volunteer to do it. Volunteer with your children's school, volunteer in your community, volunteer, because when you volunteer, you stand out. That is how you get noticed. That's how you meet other people. That's how you get to know other people. It says volunteer stands out. They receive special attention, right? Nobody's paying you in currency, but they are paying you in other ways by paying you attention. They are paying you in other ways by, when as a volunteer, you have access to everyone that program or that event is servicing. So it's very, 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 very crucial. Is another way of meeting new people when you volunteer. That's another way. That's a way of meeting new people. So volunteering helps. It helps and helps. So in summary, as we've gone through, be an activationist, be someone who does things, be a doer, not a don'ter. Don't wait until conditions are perfect. They never will be. Expect future obstacles and difficulties and solve them as they arise. I'm going to reward that. Instead of expect, because what you expect, you get. Instead of expecting future obstacles, right? Instead of, change what you're expecting, okay? Instead of expecting future obstacles, you expect that you are an overcomer no matter what comes your way, all right? So, there are ways of looking at things, in that arena, right? Remember, ideas alone won't bring success. Ideas have value only when you act upon them. So take action. Use action to kill fear. Fear, like, that's where you hear phrases like "do it anyway" or "do it afraid." Right? When you do something, the fear, will subside and you gain confidence. And the more confidence you have, the less fear you exhibit or you continue to have. And the more you continue to do it, that fear just dissipates. Do what you fear and fear disappears. Just try it and see. Start your mental engine mechanically. Don't wait for the spirit to move you. You take action, dig in, and you move the spirit. Think in terms of now, tomorrow, next week, later, and similar words often are synonymous with failure words. Never. Okay? Think in terms of now. Okay? When you begin to put yourself, okay, tomorrow, next week. I'll give you an example. How many of us are here now? Right? When I think, was it last week? That was when Amaka reached out to me to take the presentation on the community. That day I had other things I needed to do. I was like, I don't think that today is a good idea. What can we do next week? Right? I was the one that gave her the next week. And then yesterday came, I was internally wishing, is that the date I gave her? Like, oh, can it be next week? Next week again? Because if you don't, and very much unlike me, I'm somebody that you can call like 5 minutes to, can you do this? I'm like, yes, let's get it done, right? But that day I was occupied with something else, right? And then when the tomorrow came, I was, my defaults, that I wanted to tell her was, can it be next week? And then I just cautioned myself, you promised her today, right? So I went, I confirmed that, yes, that was what I promised, and then I had to do it, right? So we have to think in terms of now. Let's move ourselves into action and just drop the attitude of, postponing responsibilities and actions. Get down to business pronto. Don't waste time getting ready to act. Start acting instead. Seize the initiative, be a crusader, pick up the ball and run. Be a volunteer, show that you have the ability and ambitions to do. All right. So next week, we're going to go chapter 11 and 12. And that will be it. All right. So that's it for me today. Any question? Any last word? Yes. Thank you. All right. That's it. Like I said, I think I mentioned it last week.
Thank you.
You are welcome. If you have any idea on the next book, for us to read, I would say we look for, you're welcome, Dr. Aaron. We look for a book on prospecting, specifically on prospecting. And yeah, that's one that I want us to, you're welcome, Topper, that I want us to look at. All right. So have a wonderful evening, everyone. And the new products that we have within the Untamed community, let's go devise means, be creative on how to, to get it to people. And if we have to conduct survey on our customers, let's do that to get the sense of what they need, if it's something that they need at this time. Those other ones that have said, oh, I'm not a fragrance person. Oh, I'm not a cosmetic person. Yeah, we have a new product now. So reach out to them. Reach out to them. At least they would like to smell nice. They would like their homes to smell nice, and they would love to use products that do not affect the oceans, the body of water negatively, things like that, right? Let them know you have something they want to have, they want to start using, and let's see how it goes. All right, everyone, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week, God willing. God bless you all. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Thank you, everyone.